What's going on, people? Mike C-Town here. Happy Metal Monday. So a quick word on how this all started. I've been playing with this idea in my head for a while with Metal Mondays, where I just talk about random metal albums that have been occupying my stereo over the past week or month or whatever. People have been asking me about doing reviews for metal albums, and I'm just really apprehensive about that. So this is probably as close as I'll get to doing those, I guess. So what made me finally do it was I was supposed to do a joint review of the new Marduk album with Entheogen of the Needle Drop, and that fell through. But I had a bunch of notes already put together about the album. I'd been listening to it like crazy, not just because of the review, but also because it fucking rules. And I figured there's no point in letting all that stuff go to waste, so I'll go ahead and start up the Metal Monday thing. I listen to a lot of albums. Outside of hip-hop, metal is probably my favorite genre, so my idea for this segment is I'll talk about two albums. One newer album that I've been listening to like crazy, and one older album that either I've been listening to a lot, or just been thinking about a lot, or just want to showcase. So yeah, so let's get started. So the first album I'm going to talk about is the new Marduk, Frontschwein. Marduk's one of my favorite black metal bands. I remember first hearing them way back in the day on, I don't know if anybody remembers those blackened comps that used to come out, but I discovered a lot of bands through those comps, and Marduk was on it. I can't remember what song it was. I'm pretty sure it was either a song from Heaven Shall Burn We Were Gathered, or Those of the Unlight. I can't remember which album, but it doesn't matter. Either way, I loved the track, and from there I started just buying everything I could find from Marduk. So this band's been around for 25 years, and honestly I think their albums are really consistent. Out of all those bands that came out and stuck around from back then, Immortal, Gorgoroth, Satyricon, Mayhem, of course, Burzum, I think Marduk is probably the most consistent. I don't think they've put out anything that was actually bad. There have been albums that I liked more than others, but nothing that I can actually say was a crappy album. My favorite Marduk album is still Panzer Division Marduk, and in my opinion, they haven't done anything quite as good since that album. However, Frontschwein, for me, this is the best thing they've done since Panzer Division Marduk. It's hard, it's heavy, it's fast, it's ugly. Like, this album embodies what I love about Marduk. They are musical war. The album starts and it immediately beats you in the face with the way it sounds, just the loud blasting, the opening riff that's just absolutely fantastic. The only thing you can do is just make that face that. As it goes on, I like how diverse the album is. They have their formula, but they're twisting the formula up just a bit. You have your trademark super fast stuff like the title track and, well, the majority of the album, but you also have some of these great slow brooding tracks like 503 and Nebelwerfer, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, but what the fuck, Elbow. Of course, they've done these types of tracks before, but it just sounds so much better here. And I've always been partial to Legion, but honestly, I think this is the best Mortus has sounded. His voice is ugly, but it's still almost clear, which was something that I really loved about Legion. And this album has some of the best riffs I've heard from them in a really long time. Even though I think Serpent Sermon was really good, this one hits a bit harder for me. I still like the old Frederick's drumming a little bit more. I think he's a bit more creative, but the new Frederick definitely holds his own here. There's some great drum work on this album. Surprisingly, there's only one song on this entire album that I didn't like, and that happens to be the second track, which is Blonde Beast. I just didn't care for the riff on this track, and I really didn't like the drum work on it either. They just had too much bop to them. Like, I can't even put my finger on it, but there was just something about that track that I couldn't get into. But then when it hit Africa, track 3, holy shit. That's my absolute favorite track on this whole album. You know, when it hit that track, everything was back in order. That song has that Marduk formula, and it just sounds super powerful. Overall, I think this record is absolutely killer. When it comes to black metal albums, I think this one delivers just what you would want and need from Marduk. Great riffs, great drumming, great vocals, actual good production. Just an all-around rad album, man. So make sure you guys check that out if you like black metal. The next album I've been listening to a ton lately is Bloodlet. Bloodlet's Entheogen. I don't know why I've been listening to that album so much lately. Like, you know, Bloodlet's been one of my favorite bands ever since I heard them back in the fucking 90s when they first dropped. You know, kind of like Starkweather. They're one of those bands that was a part of the hardcore scene, but they were never really a hardcore band. Like, Bloodlet had a sound that was really unlike any other hardcore band, and really unlike any other band, period. There hasn't been a band since Bloodlet that sounded anything like them, in my opinion. You know, I'm not even a fan of sludge metal, but I would think that that's probably the closest genre you can kind of throw them into. I think people would kind of like try to say that they're metalcore, but metalcore wasn't even a thing when Bloodlet was around. Plus, I don't even really like putting that title on bands, especially bands I actually like. I loved their work before Entheogen, which was a bunch of 7-inches that you can get because they were all compiled onto an album called Eclectic. But this one just sounds so much fuller and heavier. The songs are more fleshed out and thought out. They have more interesting and intricate parts. There's some absolutely incredible riffs. Even some Black Sabbath inspired riffs on here. The drumming is also something that always caught my attention with Bloodlet. The drummer is super good, and he does a lot of really interesting stuff here with rolls and fills that just keeps their more slower riffs from being a bit too drony or hypnotic. The vocals are amazing on this album, better than they were on the previous 7-inches. Not guttural, not high-pitched either, but kind of like growled / yelled. They're really, really weird, but again, it's another really interesting and original aspect of Bloodlet that kind of separated them from other bands. I also loved the lyrics that Scott, the singer, wrote. One of my favorites: if it could be channeled into violence, I eat your existence. I've not the taste for the flesh of the innocent, but yours, Father, has made my mouth water. Lyrics like that, again, I think separated them from a lot of the other bands from that time. Bands weren't that poetic. Bands weren't that eclectic with their, no pun intended, with their lyrics. But Scott's lyrics always really interested me. But one of my favorite songs on this whole album has to be Annulment. And it's a song about a guy who's in love with his woman but has his heart broken, and instead of just getting over it, he chooses to kill her. Because, I mean, that's totally logical. With the saints and martyrs I stand, having blessed you with your final menstruation. Your swan song stains my face, pacifying my soul, dressed in your skin, never again will we part. So not only does he kill this woman who has broken his heart, he skins her and wears her like a suit. Some pretty twisted shit. My bandmates never knew this, but Bloodlet's Annulment actually inspired one of our songs, which was called For Dying Eyes. And it was the same basic concept. Boy meets girl, girl breaks boy's heart, boy kills her. The lyrics for that song were, there will be no more sacrifice, I'll immolate your existence. Now I have nothing but blood on my hands as your life force drains from your body to the floor. Yeah, I was a pretty disturbed young dude, you know. No wonder I didn't have girlfriends. So anyway, that's it for this particular video. I'm going to try to do these, not every Monday, but maybe every other Monday if I have time. But at least once a month, I'll do a Metal Monday video. Real quick, the background music for this particular video is done by Father Befouled. I think I've talked about, yeah, I've definitely talked about them on this channel before. Great, guttural, gross, ugly death metal. Side note, Justin actually played guitar for Don Orion, my old band, for a hot minute, but his band is way better. And they're actually going on tour soon, so if you live in one of these states that's on this flyer that should be showing right now, be sure to go check them out. They are fucking rad, and if you do go because of my video, make sure you go up to them and let them know that Myke C-Town sent you. Alright? So that's it. As usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I will see you ugly, gross, disgusting, depraved, and deprived motherfuckers next time. Alright? Peace, bitches!